Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this wonderful Friday. We appreciate you taking your time out of your day before the weekend to meet with us and learn about the A2ZERO Home Energy Rebates program that is being launched by the City of Ann Arbor's Office of Sustainability and Innovation. It's coming soon, and we really wanted to give folks the opportunity to learn about the program, meet with some folks that's administering the program, and have a chance to answer any questions before the program comes out in regards to the application process, the benefits that's coming out, and ways to get connected. So we are so excited to talk with you all today and get this conversation started. For today's agenda, of course, we have welcome and introductions. We're going to give you some background on the A2ZERO vision initiative that made this wonderful program possible. We're going to give you an overview of the home energy rebate program, talk about the rebate fund availability and application processes, do some question and answer, and close. I encourage you all to use the chat if you have any questions throughout the presentation. We will work to answer those questions. Also, when it comes to the Q&A section, please use the Q&A portal to ask your questions, and we will get through those in the order in which they come. So again, thank you so much for being here. To introduce ourselves, I am Jamie Simmons, and I am program manager for Elevate Energy. Elevate and Michigan Energy Options is working with the City of Ann Arbor to make this program possible. So we are so excited to be teaming up and bringing this program to the City of Ann Arbor residents. And we also have Brandon Glock here with us today, who will be presenting on behalf of Michigan Energy Options. He's going to give us a deeper dive into the application process and what are the avenues in which you all can help either yourselves or folks that you're working with receive a rebate from this program, and thinking about what qualifies and the best pathways to make things more efficient for the program. Just a little background. Of course, as you all know, the City of Ann Arbor has an A2ZERO initiative that's really centered in together creating and implementing a just transition to carbon neutrality by the year 2030. A lot of the programming that the Office of Innovation and Sustainability Innovation is doing right now is really centered around this vision of bringing a clean energy decarbonization to all of the folks in City of Ann Arbor, and making things equitable in that process. The A2ZERO Home Energy Rebates program came to fruition through the 2022 Community Climate Action Millage, in which the Ann Arbor residents voted to allocate some residential taxes, home taxes to this program to help support the development and implementation of decarbonization and clean energy projects within the city. Some of those key program areas for the 2022 Community Climate Action Millage was to support energy efficiency and weatherization programs, advance neighborhood and community resiliency, and create homes and transportation electrification program. Of course, when we think about how do we equitably bring folks along in this vision, making sure that folks have the financial support to kick this work and bring this work off the ground is a key part of that. So that is very much the center of why the A2ZERO Home Energy Rebates program came to fruition, and why we've been developing this program over the past year with the City of Ann Arbor. So a little bit about the Home Energy Rebate Program. Again, the target launch date as of right now is that first week of July. We're really excited about that. The program budget is $1.9 million for the first year. That will allow for over 1,300 rebates to be available to the residents of the City of Ann Arbor. This program is strictly for residential. Commercial is is potentially coming down the line, but as of right now, we are only focusing on residential rebates. And some participant requirements for this program is 1 to 4 unit residential properties. You must be located within the boundaries of Ann Arbor. You can be a landlord, or a landlord can apply for this rebate for their properties within the Ann Arbor limits. All installed equipment must meet the program guidelines, which we will talk about a little bit later. And you must be 18 to apply for a rebate from the Home Energy Rebate Program. So for the home energy rebates, we are offering them in tiers. We have a income eligible rebate tier, which is from 0 to 120% AMI. The chart that you see over to the right is the breakdown of what that 120 area median income in Ann Arbor is for this particular program. This is based on household size. And of course, since it is taken in consideration income eligibility, these rebates are slightly larger than the standard market rate, which is the second tier of rebates that we will be offering through this program. We will have a market rate standard rebate tier for anyone to apply. Again, both of those total up to those 130 plus available rebates within this program. In regards to the rebates that we are offering, they are really broken down into these 4 categories, and we're thinking about pushing folks to electrification and energy efficiency. So we do have a rebate for battery and storage. Again, we are not doing, for most of you, some of you who have been a part of that conversation, we are not doing actual solar panel installation rebates this year, but we are supporting battery storage. We have a category of rebates for HVAC electrification, energy efficiency, insulation, and air sealing. And I know a lot of folks are on this call is really, really excited about the e-bikes. So we'll dive in a little bit more about what some of those qualifications and measures are. So for battery storage, there's 50 rebates available to support residential PV storage efforts across the city. As a lot of you know, in this upcoming November, the city of Ann Arbor does have an initiative for the sustainability energy utility on the ballot. So thinking about that and the other solar programs within the city, we wanted to create some rebates that could complement those 2 initiatives. For electrification, we have rebates for cold climate, central air source heat pumps, ducts, mini and multi-split, heat pump water heaters, electric panels. And in regards to what the range of rebates could look like for these electrification rebates, the market rebates could range from $1,000 to $2,500, and the income eligible range for rebates through this program would be $2,000 to $3,500. For energy efficiency, we have attic and roof insulation, above grade wall insulation, rim and band joist insulation, crawl space, floor area insulation, and air sealing. The market rate rebates range for this is $50 to $150. Income eligible range is $50 to $300. For insulation and air sealing rebates, we offer bundles. So thinking about how can we push folks to kind of have more larger collective products that we can support, we do offer bundles. We offer attic and roof and rim joists plus 20% air sealing reduction. We have attic and roof insulation plus knee, wall, crawl, floor insulation, and 40% air sealing reduction. And the market rebates for that range from $2,000 to $3,000, and income eligible range from $3,000 to $4,500. For those who are interested in the rebates for the e-bikes, we are offering e-bikes rebates for standard and cargo. You must be a City of Ann Arbor resident to receive a rebate for an e-bike. We're only allocating 1 e-bike per household for year 1. That could change, but for year 1, all e-bikes must be UL 2849 certified. The motor may not exceed 750 watts and cannot be powered by gas. We are not approving e-bike rebates for bikes with retrofit kits. And all three classes of e-bikes do qualify for the rebate program. As of right now, the market rate rebates range from $250 to $500, and if you are in the income eligible range, they can go up to $1,000 to $1,500. We are trying to cover up to 50% of the e-bike costs. And again, when we think about e-bikes in regards to how do they play a role within carbon emission, cutting that in half, and the larger A2ZERO plan for the city of Ann Arbor. We really are looking for e-bikes to help cut the carbon footprint by helping people drive less. So we're looking to reduce some car replacing, transportation replacing on this, not necessarily marketing this for recreational use. Now we'll jump into rebate fund availability, in which I will pass it to Brandon.
Thank you, Jamie. So as Jamie mentioned, we have the standard rebate offering and then an income qualified rebate. Within those available rebates, we're going to have reserved funds and unreserved. So an applicant can choose if, let's say, you're going to upgrade upgrade to a cold climate heat pump and you want to apply for the rebate. You want to make sure you have that incentive available. You can reserve in advance, and we will review your project, approve it, and you'll get 60 days with that. Those funds will be set aside, placed on hold for you to complete the project. If the project isn't completed after 60 days, those get released back into the general kind of reserved funds. And then, you can reapply if needed. But that's how the reservation system will work. We are setting aside some unreserved funds. Those are first come, first serve. We see those being used more in maybe break fix situations where you don't have time to apply for reservation, but you want to take advantage of the rebates. So those are available, as I said, first come, first serve. And if those have been exhausted, that side of the program will be closed. So there is just that slight chance that if you apply through the unreserved path, that you may not receive a rebate if those have been exhausted. On the next slide here, we're going to talk about the actual process here on how to apply, and then we'll get into some income qualification stuff. So we tried to make this as simple as possible. So we wanted to allow the all application process, the applicant or the contractor can apply. So this gives contractors the option to discount that incentive directly off the invoice to the customer. If that's something that the contractor would like to do, that's available. Otherwise, the applicant will be able to just complete these steps. So the applicant or contractor will apply to reserve the rebate. For certain measures, we will require some additional information. So for instance, with the cold climate heat pump, we do want to make sure that the applicant is serious and kind of down the path of actually making that purchase. So we will require some model information for that heat pump. Our processing team reviews that application, confirms that the equipment that they're interested in meets the specs required in the application. And if so, we will provide a reservation number. That reservation will, as I mentioned before, give the applicant or contractor 60 days basically to complete the project and then submit the final invoice and any additional documents needed for specific measures. Once we receive all that information, we will process and approve that rebate application. From complete application being submitted, check will be in hand within 6 to 8 weeks is our goal. As I mentioned previously too, the applicant, 60 days might be too short for some time frame. So we will allow the extension of that 60 days if documentation can be shown, or there's a valid excuse like a delay in the supply chain or something like that. We'll be able to work with applicants on making sure that their reservation does not expire due to situations outside of anyone's control. The income qualification process, applicants will be able to income qualify, pre-qualify themselves for the income qualified rebates. We are going to have a standalone application for that. Applicants will be able to fill in some information, provide their household size and total household income, and our processing team will review that. And if the household size and income qualification matches up and they're under the 120% AMI, the applicant will receive an income qualification code. That code will be good for the entire calendar year. So applicants, if they're interested or think that they may be, in a few months, able to make some of these upgrades, they can qualify themselves for the income verification, and then that will be good through the entire calendar year. So once they have that income qualification code, that is something that basically confirms to the applicant and the contractor that for the calendar year, the applicant is eligible for the enhanced rebates. On this income qualification application, the applicant is also able to reserve rebates at that same time. So if they are interested in an e-bike, or they are knowing that they're going to do a heat pump, when they apply for an income qualification, if they're at that step where they're ready to actually purchase or install these measures, they can just reserve at that time. Otherwise, they can reserve at a later date, or they can go through the unreserved pathway and just complete an application when ready. We wanted to since we are trying to make this open to contractors to apply, and that the income qualification and the income rebate levels are significantly higher than the standard rebates. The income qualification code confirms 100% that they qualify for that larger incentive. So if if contractor wants to provide that rebate upfront to the customer, the income qualification code in the approval letter is that kind of like that confirmation from our team that they do in fact that you will receive that enhanced rebate, and so you can be confident when you're discounting that off the invoice if you're going to go that route. So yeah, after that application, or after the project is completed, any additional invoices and documents for measures that are submitted after project completion, we'll review that, and the same process goes. We'll review and pay those rebate checks, and 6 to 8 weeks again from when complete application is received to when check in hand with customer or contractor. So there's 3 pathways. Just to kind of summarize all this, customers can reserve upfront and get a 60-day window to complete that project. That guarantees that the customer has access to that rebate. There's the income qualification pathway where you can receive an enhanced rebate. And then there's just the unreserved process where applicants can apply whenever, but subject to funds availability. So that's kind of the pathway we have here. I'm sure we're gonna have quite a few questions. Any questions? I'm sure there'll be some here.
Yes, again, if you do have any questions about the programs, qualifications, specific measure requirements, please feel free to put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and I can unmute you. Reggie asked in the chat, is there a website for the application?
Yeah, so we will have the application available on the A2ZERO website. We are in the process of building that up, but there is a website available right now as a placeholder. So there'll be a actual printable PDF of the application, and then there'll also be an online form where you can just submit right through online. And we're going to have the online form available for the standard rebate application, the reservation application, and the income qualification application. Thank you, Missy. The link to the website is in the chat there. And Bryn, to answer your question a little bit more for how to how to income verify basically. The income verification form is going to be pretty straightforward, as I previously mentioned. Just name. We're going to get household size and some basic income confirmations. Some customers will be required to provide income documentation, such as a tax return, W-2s, pay stubs, to verify that income level. But with most income qualifications, we're hoping to be able to, from time of, from if you submit it today, by Monday, you would have verification, you would have that confirmation code. If additional verification was needed and those we need the applicant to provide those income documents, that will delay it slightly. But our goal is to get reservations and income qualifications reviewed and approved as quick as possible. So typically within 2 business days at max, we want to have that process kind of through. So we don't want to put roadblocks or delays, especially in like a break fix situation or something where the customer maybe qualifies for that income qualification threshold but hasn't pre-qualified themselves. We want to be able to kind of keep that process moving as quick as possible. So our goals are to process those reservations and income qualifications as fast as possible.
Jen put in the Q&A that 60 days doesn't seem like long enough time to complete projects. There can be long waits for permit approvals, contractors, and component delays, etc.
Yeah, great point. We're going to be flexible with this a little, so we're kind of in a, we're going to learn on the fly here a little bit too. So, and this is why we wanted to kind of have this presentation and talk a little bit more so we can kind of understand a little bit more of the supply chain. We'll take that into consideration, and we may, we may look to change that window, but. July 1st. Reggie asked in the chat, sorry, if for the launch date. July 1st is the launch.
Brandon, while we have a minute, I just want to encourage folks. I know an MLive article came out in which it said the rebate program was live. So that's not true. It is July 1st. And if you're finding that stakeholders are reaching out to you about the rebate program, we don't expect you to be able to answer the technical details. Please direct them to the city's newsletter where they can sign up very easily on A2ZERO.org. And I'll drop that link in the chat. We are going to tell everyone when the rebate program is live through those channels. We also do have some flyers that if you have a brick and mortar facility and would like to have some flyers on hand, we can drop off at your facility that redirects folks to where they can go to learn more about the program.
Thanks, Missy. Jason asked, will there be a running count of remaining number and dollars of rebates throughout the year, and will that be available on the website? The answer is yes. We will be having a dashboard, if you will, available on the website, kind of providing a rough amount, percent to spend and how many available rebates. So there will be information on our website, pretty close to up to date and kind of real time almost, on the program budget and kind of, how much, how close we are to exhausting those funds. As Missy mentioned, the MLive article, there's a lot of interest, so we kind of are expecting a pretty quick, a busy start to the program. But we will try to keep everyone informed on kind of the status as we go. And if we ever do get close to running out of funds, we will provide a wait list of some sorts, or we'll provide additional information kind of when we get to that point, if we get to that point. Missy?
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. I wanted to offer from the city's perspective that the goal of this program is to help reduce emissions. And so we know from parallel programs, there's a lot of interest in e-bikes, and I want to be very transparent. The prioritization for e-bikes, there won't be many e-bike rebates, and the prioritization will be for displacing vehicle transit. So this is not recreational. Someone who's looking to add something for fun, who's not going to displace how they move about the community. That could be something we do later. But right now, from the city's perspective, these funds are dedicated to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And we're really going to try to push very hard early on for energy efficiency work. It's complicated to get people excited about energy efficiency. So you're going to see a lot of money in the early years helping people make those investments because they're critical for all of the other things that people want to see, like solar and heat pumps and heat pump water heaters. So I didn't want you to have to say that. I'm happy to say why. As a city, we've made a determination that we're going to focus on what we often call kind of the peas and the carrots, the things that are really, really foundational, and yet people don't get quite as excited about.
Mac asks, can rebates cover 100% of the cost of the measure?
It depends on the measure. Some of our measures, and once we'll have the measure specs available soon. But so some of them will do have a max rebate, or some are 50% of the cost. Jamie mentioned e-bikes, for instance, so it's 50% of the cost up to a max amount of the rebate. So in those situations, no. But it just depends on the measure, and we'll make it clear in the documents and the materials coming out in the next few weeks that on which of those measures kind of have those limits.
Mac clarified he was asking for air sealing and insulation mainly.
Michael, do you have that?
Yeah, so
uh,
air sealing and insulation. So one of the things that we did with air sealing insulation is that we took a look at those requirements that are currently out there, for DTE, and we are looking to kind of match that. So the rebates for Ann Arbor are going to be slightly higher than DTE's rebates. They're either matching or slightly higher depending on standard or income qualified, from there. But those rebates by themselves are likely not going to cover, of the full cost, of the measure themselves. And then we also have, the bundles, that are out there that are, 30% of a project cost, up to $2,000 or $3,000, along those lines. And so I guess the short answer in, a number of these cases, these rebates or these are incentives that are really trying to help the homeowner make the decision to move forward with a project. So try to make them attractive enough to help that be a determining factor in convincing a homeowner to move forward with an insulation project or a heat pump project or a water heater project. But in short, largely, they likely will not cover the full cost.
Any other additional questions? Again, as a reminder, feel free to use the Q&A portal or the chat. Well, I think those might be all of the questions.
Does look like there is one person typing in the chat, so I might want to give that a
Okay.
minute.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Julie. How is the program being marketed? I
Do you want
think
us to take that, Jamie?
yeah, I was going to say, I think that's
Okay.
Stephen Arbor.
Yeah. So there's a few different things. Actually, one of the folks on the line is helping us develop a targeted outreach campaign focusing on our income qualified households to make sure that they certainly know about this program and are ready to mobilize. In addition, we're going to do, it's not a soft launch, but we'll be pushing this out through our newsletter, other channels. We're already talking about the program, making sure different constituencies know that it's coming July 1st. We're also leaning into a bunch of our collaborating organizations so they can tell their membership. I think the reality is adoption is not going to be the problem. What we're more concerned about is making sure income qualified households also know about this program. I think our market rate folks already do.
Thank you, Missy. Jason asks in the chat, is the financing application separate from the reservation and income qualification applications?
By financing, I assume you mean this like the rebate application. And so yes, they're three different forms. So if you're going to reserve funds, you'll do that through the reservation application. If you're income qualified and want to reserve funds, you can do that at the same time of applying for income qualification. And then the rebate application would be completed like once you've completed that project, if you've reserved, or if you're doing the unreserved path. We're going to have a lot of we're going to have some materials on the website too, some very clear directions on the applications, and very clear kind of steps on the website to make sure that customers can
Jason clarified he was asking about the Michigan Saves financing that will be available. Jason, we are not partnering with Michigan Saves on this program, even though we do have Mac on the call. So Mac, if you wanted to unmute yourself, please let me know if you want to talk about this. But the rebates for this program is to be used kind of at the completion of project.
Are there any questions on like measure specifications and requirements in the programming? Jamie kind of mentioned a couple with cold climate heat pump and the UL listing for e-bikes. Any questions around that?
What is, Jason asks, what is the minimal electrical panel size? Also, Brandon, your focus on your camera's a little off.
Oh.
We have a minimum 200 amp service required.
Bryn asks, what is the requirement for dual fuel?
No dual fuel eligibility.
Yep. Mac had the same question. Yeah, for this program, we are not providing rebates for dual fuel. Will there be more discussion about e-bikes, or are we into the Q&A for everything? If you have, Jim, if you have any more questions about e-bikes, feel free to let us know, and we can answer those for you. But yes, what we provided is again, there'll be rebates for all three classifications of e-bikes, and we're willing to cover the cost of 50% of the cost of e-bikes.
Up to
To.
max rebate levels.
Mhm.
That probably only really is going to be a situation with income qualified rebate levels for that. But so a standard rebate for e-bikes is $250 for the standard, and then $500 for a cargo e-bike. And then the income qualified rebate is max $1,000 rebate, and then max $1,500 for a cargo e-bike. So we probably still won't won't even hit those in most situations. Or will be pretty close. The one thing we are requiring, I do just want to point out, is the UL listing is 2849. That's the certification that looks at the entire the electrical system of the e-bike, not just the battery. So if someone is looking to purchase an e-bike and eliminate some vehicle travel, that UL listing is required. And so checking with manufacturers, really kind of doing some verification beforehand on the specific e-bikes, just because that can be a barrier, or more an overlooked item.
Jamie, you're on mute.
I realized. I'm just over here chatting. Mac asks for clarification around dual fuel. Does no dual fuel mean you can't put a heat pump on an existing furnace?
Mac, I think we have to ponder that a little bit more. It's not an impossibility, but the intent really is full electrification that we're trying to support in the initiative. So there may be a use case in which I could see it, but we've got to, it's something we have to take back. I think about a team about when we would make that an acceptable decision versus not.
Mm-hmm. Jim had a few questions about the e-bike aspect of the program. One being, how do we ensure someone doesn't try to apply discount codes multiple times at different stores?
So the intent of the program around e-bikes is not when I mentioned contractor kind of submitting applications, the intent there was more on the HVAC or insulation and air sealing side of things, where just the requirements of the program may require some kind of documentation that the average customer maybe can't or isn't familiar with. The e-bikes, we anticipate being an applicant driven process. So we'll talk a little bit more internally about that, but we didn't foresee rebates being applied at the register for e-bikes. And we do know the UL listing does limit the available e-bikes, but that's kind of the goal, is to promote kind of non electric e-bike transportation, and eliminating some vehicles. And so we do want to make sure that what we're incentivizing kind of meets some quality assurances and strong certifications.
And then to the question around the discount code and rebate, again, to Brandon's point, for the rebate for e-bikes, we're expecting folks to have a receipt for that. So purchase would already have been completed. We have Bren asked, any guardrails for customers who might want a heat pump, but the shell or envelope of the building is not adequate. Low-income customers might suffer from due to high utility bills. So I think that's an insulation first question. Michael?
Yeah, right now we don't have any requirements for customers to have gone through, an audit or an installation first, envelope improvement, shell improvement of their building prior to applying for a rebate for a heat pump. So there's a little bit of so there's a little bit on the homeowner and homeowner on that to understand, those decisions, how, in which way we should make those. And so, hopefully, if customers have, questions, I know there are some, audit programs, that are available, with the city as well, that's already open. And, if Missy wants to just talk about that really quick, that may be helpful as well to help give some guidance.
Yeah, Michael, thanks so much. So the city also we launched this in May, a home energy advisor service, which is free to every Ann Arbor resident. And this is an opportunity to have someone provide very strategic advice about kind of what your next step is. Or if you're not clear on what your next step is, you can receive a decarbonization assessment, a path to zero, that is very surgical for that particular home. So my path to zero in my home is different than my neighbor's path to zero. And that'll talk about health and safety improvements, energy efficiency work, renewable energies, beneficial electrification, and identify things like funding that are available, such as our rebate program. So if you've got a client or someone you're interacting with, and it seems like they may be leaning towards something that's not really the right fit for them, encouraging them to go through this free program will help them get a really customized sense of what their next best step is. And in this case, that almost certainly would be energy efficiency work. And I just want to add, this is part of the reason we're trying to have strong incentives for energy efficiency. We all know that that heat pump goes further and is cheaper, and we help manage any potential energy burden when you're in an efficient space. And so that's the focus, and why you hear us kind of harping on efficiency early on in this program.
Thank you, Missy. Mac had the question, is there a quality assurance aspect of the heat pump to the heat pump install? Are there contractor requirements?
I'm sorry, Jamie, I missed that question, and I don't know who it was for.
And I think Brandon, you were talking, but you're muted. Is there a quality assurance aspect to heat pump installation? And are there contractor requirements?
We're encouraging contractors that we're in touch with the program to become Michigan Saves certified contractors. While this is not a Michigan Saves program, we understand some of the contractor assurance that they kind of put together with their program, and there's likely to be a financing available through Michigan Saves. For these programs as well. So, we are encouraging homeowners and advertising that, we trust Michigan Saves contractors in this for our program and for our installs.
Yes, we're also encouraging participants to kind of let us know their experience with their contractors, so we can just kind of take stock of the work being done in the city in regards to those who are being serviced, will intersect with both this program and the Home Energy Advisor program. Larry asks, is there any requirements for solar when applying for a storage rebate?
We currently do not have a required proof of solar on your facility prior to applying for that solar rebate right now. For the storage rebate, I apologize.
Jason asked, will all of the technical requirements to be A2 rebate qualified be posted on the website? Does those requirements align with the county, state, federal requirements? We will have a list of the measures. Sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
Yes, yeah, we'll have a list of all measures and all requirements, that are associated with them, and whether or not they are, minimum insulation, square footage, and to sizing of heat pumps, and minimum standards of e-bikes and otherwise will all be made available.
Sorry, Jamie, if I may too, I think it's a fair question, but I would say we are looking at existing rebates, which there are not many, like utility rebates. So we are ahead of state and federal rebate programs, meaning we know that we'll be making revisions to align closely with the state, but the state is also watching here in Michigan what it is we're doing around rebates and the requirements. So in some ways, Jason, the answer is you find a rebate, please send it our way, because there really aren't many that exist. We're pretty early, and the ones that do exist are in other states, outside of a few examples that we have. So trying to align with existing requirements where we have them, and then trying to create them where we don't.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, we try to align at least with DTEs, the utility rebates that do exist and overlap with Ann Arbor. And a lot of those, really come in the form of, insulation rebates, whereas DTE does not currently offer rebates for, things like heat pumps, or storage, out there. So again, Ann Arbor is certainly ahead in offering those, but we will be keeping a close eye as the state agrees upon its rules with the IRA rebates that'll be potentially launching in the fourth quarter of the year. So we hopefully will know a little bit of that ahead of time, and if need be, we will react and act appropriately to adjust.
Thank you both. Reggie asks, is there a link to Michigan State's contractors being provided to homeowners? We will be integrating some guidance to point folks in the direction of Michigan Saves on the website. As well as also including some language that connects folks back to the A2ZERO Home Energy Advisor program as well if they need some support in navigating finding a contractor or a project. Any additional questions in regards to the program launch, measures?
Jamie, if you want to go to the next slide, we have the contact
Yes.
information on there in case people want to, have any questions after here.
Absolutely. So again, just thank you all so much for joining us on this call. And we've had some really great questions and conversations come up. Again, which I know Missy and Julie shared the website to the rebate program in the chat, as well as if you would like any additional information or have any questions around the program, please contact sustainability at A2 .gov.org, and please sign up and encourage folks to sign up to the newsletter, in which they'll be the first to know when the program is launched and how to apply for a rebate. For residents who are well, going back to the newsletter, but if you have any questions in regards to anything that myself, Brandon, or Michael Larson offered today, here is our email addresses, as well as you all know, please reach out to Julie and Missy as well from OSI if you have any direct conversations. And even if you have some feedback in regards to rebate process, application process, amount, we are definitely open to hearing out your point of views and perspectives, and any guidance or things that you can offer us as we're developing this program and revising throughout the first year. So thank you so much. And Juliet or Missy, if you have anything to say before we wrap, just let me know.
Just gratitude, and please do let us know your feedback. We are obviously building a program, and there are things that we've missed. There are things that will have to change, and we can only know about that through your direct engagement with us. So thank you for the gift of the feedback you've given on this call, and thanks for the gift of feedback that's still coming.
Wonderful. Great. Well, again, thank you all so much. We're so happy to have this program getting off the ground. I will share the slides with you all after this call. And again, if you have any questions or feedback, let us know. Outside of that, have a wonderful Friday. And I look forward to working with you all in the future.